Coach Tony Dungy joins me. Coach, where were you and how did you learn of the news of Jim Irsay's passing?
Rich, I was at our Wednesday night Bible study at my home in Tampa and just could not believe it. Got several messages on the phone and it was just hard to fathom.
What was your initial reaction and what thoughts come to mind?
It was just so hurting. I just felt really bad. Hadn't had any indication that anything was even wrong, so it catches you totally in shock. But as I've had time to reflect, I thought about the very first conversation I had with Jim when he called me in 2001, and we talked, and he said, "Hey, I want you to be my coach because we want to do something special here in Indianapolis. Yes, we want to win, but we want to have the right type of young men. We want to be role models. We want to connect with the city. We want to make this something special for the city of Indianapolis." And then I remember when we finally won that Super Bowl, coming back into the stadium, into the RCA Dome, and we're standing there, and I looked over at him and I said, "Jim, I think we did it. We did exactly what you talked about. We won it, but with the right type of young man and just as a gift to the city." And it was so special to realize that that's what he wanted. And then I remember Lucas Oil Stadium. I actually was thinking of retiring the year before, and he said, "No, this stadium is so special. We're going to be in downtown Indianapolis. The Colts are going to be here forever, and I need you to be in this building the first year," because that whole thing was Jim. He wanted the team to be there. He didn't want to move. That just getting the stadium for the city and all the things now that we see, NCAA tournaments and Big Ten championships and all the things that are happening for Indianapolis. That was Jim's dream and his vision.
You just talked about what I was going to ask you, and that is, I remember you telling the story when you were hired of Jim Irsay calling you when you had essentially just been let go by Tampa Bay and really didn't know the future trajectory of your football career as a coach. How did Jim Irsay change your career?
He talked about growing up, being a Steeler fan, and he saw the chemistry that the Steelers had with their fans and with the city, and the fact that it was the Rooney family in Pittsburgh forever. And he said, we don't have that in Indianapolis. We just moved here, and we're trying to build that. That's what we want. And I want this not to be a football team, but I want this to be the city's team. And when I heard that told me that that's where I want to be. This is about more than winning. This is about developing young men, about just doing things the right way. And Jim was that way all the time. I mean, he did things, reached out to people that no one will ever even hear about. But just, it's hard to even put into words just how special, how compassionate, how caring he was.
What was your relationship with Jim and how did that grow and develop over the years, not just as a boss and the owner of the team, but as a friend and the family leader of the Colts?
He was really a great boss, and he was so compassionate. He cared about his people. And I'll never forget, again, going to the Super Bowl, and he took every member of our staff. It didn't matter what job you had in the facility, you and your spouse were going to the Super Bowl. And no one does that, but that was Jim Irsay's heart. And that's the way he was. He cared about the players, he cared about the staff, he cared about the city, and he just wanted the best for everyone. And I guess one of my favorite and most lasting memories, my dad was getting up in years, and Jim said, "I see him. I know he comes to all the home games, but I see him going to the away games too." And I said, "Yeah, when he can and when he could make it, he goes." He said, "Just tell him to come here. We'll have a seat for him on the plane." And he took my dad to every single away game the last 2 years of his life. Um, and that's just the way he was.
As you think about the years you had here in Indianapolis that led to a Hall of Fame career, uh, and now you've worked for NBC for several years, and I'm sure you get all around the league and come back to Indianapolis for some games. When was the last time you saw Jim?
I saw Jim at the Hall of Fame last year, and then I saw him during the season, and it kind of brings a tear to your eyes now because you don't think, well, that's going to be the last time that I ever saw him. We talked and we're talking about the team and the future and going forward, and I talked to him on the phone several times, but you just don't think that that's going to be the last time. And man, it's hard, Rich. It's really hard.
And Jim, somewhat publicly had his demons. He had his health concerns. He had his addiction problems. And yet he was very upfront about that in some ways and really tried to help others who were in the same situation. Speak to his public
Yeah.
persona in that area.
Yeah, I know we can all be judgmental and we can look at other people and say, oh, this shouldn't have happened, or look at that. But Jim understood some of the problems that he had. He was very, very much um, really determined not to let that happen to people who were close to him and not to let that happen to his players, his staff. And he went out of his way to help people. And just what the Colts are doing now with their mental health awareness and different things like that, that all stems from him. And I have a lot of respect for him as a person, overcoming some of those things, but more than that, just really hoping that he could help other people avoid some of the things that he went through.
And I guess Jim Irsay really allowed you to be on that platform to become the first black coach to win a Super Bowl. And I got to believe one of your lasting memories will be hoisting that Lombardi Trophy with Jim there on a rainy night in Miami.
No doubt about it. He was so special to me, and he just showed so much confidence in me. And we'd have our discussions and we'd have our talks, but hey, you're in charge of the football side of it, Tony. I want you to do what you think is best. And I can't tell you what that means when your boss has that kind of confidence in you. And then when we finally achieved that and got there, and Commissioner Goodell handed Jim that trophy. I mean, I wanted to just burst out and say thank you. We did it for him, and that was one of the special moments of my life, no question.
Tony, that's a good way to end our conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, Rich, and it's a tough one, but special man, and I'm just glad that I got a chance to know him and be around him.